And so, yeah, welcome. Welcome. And today we're going to do an eightfold pattern from Cairo from the Tulun Mosque. Wait, am I saying that right? Mosque of Ibn Tulun in Cairo. So I'm going to just share real quick the pattern that we're going to do. We'll sort of break it down real quick, real easy. So immediately what we see, what strikes us is that it has these eightfold rosettes happening. What's interesting is that they're happening on the edge of what we can appreciate to be the tile work. So we have these, well, we could interpret it in several ways, right? We could interpret these to be centers over here, like this, and this be the center. Or we can interpret it to be as the center of the octagon be the center, but the corner of our square. Now, if we follow the radial line division as it goes up towards the edge of our square tile, it hits right there. And so pretty much what that's establishing is that this and the point of contact of the radial eightfold are both centers. So we would have to establish this, all these 8 to be centers as well. So we would have to put all these to be eightfold divisions. And then we have the intersections. We have this point in the middle to be also the point of flex. So we have this also eightfold division that is going to inform the octagon. And as we do it for all of them, we're going to be able to complete the octagons. After that, we can establish that these two are equally separated since they have the same shapes as a cross. So it goes eightfold rosette, petal, or this shape, petal. Weird, slim, flat, roadkill animal, petal, and eightfold rosette. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? So that's the rhythm. Therefore, this right here would be a mirror. That is to say, from this line on, from these 2 points, it's going to be the same thing. So we could use this to our advantage. The trick for this pattern is to find this part. The octagon is easy. All these are radial division lines. The center is easy. What's tricky is the channel width. If you were to establish a straight line like this, like I'm doing, you can see that it's not matching to the edge, like not matching properly. It seems to match, but it doesn't really. I mean, it won't form anything, it won't be as interesting. And also, what I've established is that this line from this point to here is the same length as from here to here. So the only way to establish that is if when we find the center here of this line that cuts through it, and this line that cuts through it, that'd be the center. We'd have to put this line to be a bisection of the line that cuts through here and here. So that's going to be the big clue. This eightfold division in order to draw the channels, and then we're just going to mirror all around. And yeah. And then afterwards, let's see. Well, I haven't found it yet, but I suspect there might be a way to sort of do happy bounces around this thing. Make it so that it's sort of a consequence of just select radial lines. So therefore, we start with the square. And right now we're listening to, where is this thing? Here we go. Ultraista Thinking. And it says in the description, warning, contains strobing. So if you're going to put on that video, fair warning. Hey, Sashi, glad you could join us. Sashi just joined the party. So we're gonna use a square. So get your square out. It's gonna be the first step. Let me just sort of fix the angle of the camera so I can get a better, an easier sort of, there we go. So just to recap a little bit, if you weren't here for this, real quick. This is a pattern we're going to do. It is an eightfold. It is found in the Ibn Tulun Mosque in Cairo. And we've established that we're going to put these points, these octagon shapes, to be our corners of our square tile. So this is located inside of a square, and this is going to be the center motif. And well, we've established some lines, some connections. But yeah, so this is what we're going for. This is the end result. It's very beautiful. We have some, yeah, we're going to see that. The decorations are also very exquisite, like the inside, the inlays. Yeah, very nice stuff. And I think that's actually a minbar. But somebody messaged me saying that they have that pattern on top of their house, like on the roof of their house from India. And they said that it was a woodcut and it was about 70 years old. So some history behind this pattern. So there's several ways we could go about making the eightfold division. I'm going to do this sort of new way that I've been doing it. And so we need to put in the next line in the same state. So if all these are valleys, then also these will be valleys. So the thing I've been suspecting, well, this is another topic, but I'm thinking that maybe the rum shapes that we do for some of these patterns might be useful in order to construct more modular designs. I think they might describe some of the polygonal shapes that are needed in order to construct these solids. So I might look into that later today. So once we've established these horizontal, vertical, and double diagonal lines, all as mountains, in this case, well, I've turned the paper over. Now we're going to do the double mountain trick, right? Which for that we select one mountain, we select the mountain adjacent to it, we put our finger between, and we connect both mountains like so. 1, 2. And the other one as well. So the idea, the intention here is that both mountains need to touch each other. So these touch, and over here they touch as well. So the advantage that I see for this way of doing it is that once you do one, the rest will just sort of fall into place. See, I'm gonna just use this hinge and just put that to the side. And then I can fold back. I can do the same thing for the other side. One. Well, same side, but just the other hand. And then I turn it over. I repeat the process on this side. 1, 2. And then here's a cool little trick that we can do. So once you have these, like so, now you can use the new fold that you did with the hinge in order to compress these within. But notice how they're not overlapping, rather they just go to in. I like it because it's a matter of consequence. So once here, we just need then to go this hinge to the other side. And then we turn the paper over and we do that hinge also to the other side in order to create a balance, right? We want there to be 4 flaps on each side. Okay, so center eightfold is done. Now what's next is to make these 8 points that touch on the edge of the square to be eightfold as well. So in order to keep sort of with this idea, check it out. So we could just fold a line that goes through these points. But here's a trick that I like to do. I can see that these lines are mountains and the line after is a valley. So I can just compress that space. You see that? That space, this space between gets compressed. And now I have it like this. And the advantage of this is that now when I raise my paper, I'm not going to be matching any points on the surface. I'm going to be sort of touching on the corners of space. So when I lift, I can just hold these two down. And as I lift, I just got to make sure that these are on this corner and this one on this corner. And then I can turn it over and repeat. But the advantage for this side, once one is done, then I can just use the two corners on the opposite in order to match. So every class, there's this challenge for me to not look at my hands, not look at the paper, but look at the camera. And today is, I think, the first time that I'm actually doing it completely. Yeah, go team. Now, the reason why you would want to do that is that you can make sure that you're centered in real time too. So now repeating on the same thing, but on the other side. What was interesting to me also as I was cracking this pattern was that there was another one behind it, or another one that seems to be there also waiting on the same grid. So we might look into that also. Or rather, it's going to be maybe a choice that you can do. We're going to go for the canonical example, but keep your eyes open for some new. So now we've done 4. We make the square, so now we go for the other 2. The other 4, well 2. But now we want to touch it on these. So same trick. Although then now, well, you have this nice option where you can actually do these up if you wanted to. This is just an aesthetic thing. It's not really useful for anything, but I don't know why I prefer to do it. I mean, if the fold is there, why not make the most of it, right? You can also get to appreciate how the bounce is working there. So that always looks nice to me. Sort of the outline of the star. Very pleasant. So this technique I call edging. And the idea is that we can move around the edge of the shape that we want to work with in order to make sure that the line is originating from that terminal point, instead of actually using any other reference of a landing site. In here, we're more focused on just making sure that it's spiky, that it's edgy. So this is a great way to draw stars, at least the outer stars, on any shape. Because what you can do, see, is you can count how many vertices you're jumping. So here we're going 0, 1, 2, 3. And so we select those, right? But you could select any other number. You don't have many numbers depending on how many sides you got, right? But let's say if I wanted to go for 2, which is the other selection we could do. 0, 1, 2, I could sort of try and focus on that, on these two. And see, now I have these two edges. This is just an example, right? But you see what I mean. One more. By the way, this song is really great. This music is pretty cool. The song right now that's playing is called Save It Till Later. And by the way, this partial shape that you see here, if you pay close attention, you're going to notice that this is actually half of a rum, of a 45 rum, the 1-3 rum. So, you know, if we were so inclined, we were more of an origami kind of minded way, we could actually fold this back and it would create this very nice sort of mirror on this, which we could do an inside reverse on it. But right now we're not so origami-ly inclined. By the way, feel free at any moment to unmute yourselves and talk about any relationship that you find interesting. Whether you find like a little square that shapes or any other thing that you might see or notice, which might be worthwhile. Any observation is worth, I think. Because the relationships that are going to stick out to you are very special to your level of perception. And everybody is not level, you know, it's not about hierarchies, but everybody sees different. Everybody notices different. And therefore, by communicating, we can then all sort of participate in each other's perception. Okay, so halfway there, right? We got these. We still need to complete the eightfold division. So it goes 1. So I'm going to just fold this mountain now, actually activate it. And then I have this valley, which we just folded. And now I have this edge that I can sort of use here. You can see that this line is actually going to match. Over here it's also going to touch, because it's going to complete the star, right? And now here as well. So we're just sort of fanning out, making sure that here I'm on the edge as much as possible, but you're also going to notice that there's a line here. Which we can match to. And then this last bit, we just can fold down like so. Finally, we go to the back, fold this fold we already had, and just finish it off.
I missed last 2 steps.
Excuse me?
I missed last 2 steps. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, so did you get the star, the center A3?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now where the A3 touches the edge of the square, that's where we're going to also do another eightfold division on it. So we're going to use these lines or folds that we already have in order to achieve it. So here so I'm going to start by folding this mountain that goes across like so. And so I already have this valley there.
Just a minute.
I can fold that.
Just a minute. I'm doing something wrong. Yes. I'm doing some. You can't hear me properly?
A little bit. It's, your volume may be a little bit down.
Okay. Because I can hear you very clearly. My direction is not right or something. Yeah. Now.
Okay, I can hear you better now. So you see what I mean? Do you have this A3 star though?
Yeah.
Okay, so you start by folding the mountain that goes through the center.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. And so since we have the A3, we can actually almost as like fold these two in like so. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
And then you can use this edge that's in the middle as a reference. So this one just folds one down. And then we have to fold these in. So you don't have these two lines. So what you do is first off, you fold down, match it on the edge, and you fold back, and now you match it on the other one. And then the last one.
Okay, let me see.
So you can get it, you're gonna get this fan shape. Sort of goes in like this. So see, if I go to the next one, I can choose any one I want though. At the end of the day, I still have to do on all 8. Goes back and forth, back and forth. Here what I'm doing is just making sure that all the lines are sort of matching. So sometimes a little nudge can go a long way. So you have to sometimes give a little fix so that it actually is at the corner. And other times you're gonna notice how you don't really have to do it this way because you're gonna see that this one is gonna hit there, so you can just as well, fold that onto it like so.
Which side? Which side? You have to do that on all 8 sides.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if I do one of them, you can flat, you're gonna see how it's actually touching on this intersection. So you don't even have to do it in the way that I did it, where you do a fan. You can just sort of go for these relationships that you can get if it's flat, right? Hit there. You can see that even this one, it's falling on this intersection.
Okay, I think I will stick to the previous because that I understood for now.
Yeah, it's more fun. This one is very pre-creasing. This is all the pre-creases. So this is the meditative aspect. Oh, wait, I just noticed Sarah has a shirt with a pattern similar to this one. Oh no, it's a tenfold, I think, the one she's wearing.
No, it's the just the canonical eightfold rosette.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I mean, it's really zoomed in, but
That's a good one.
Oh God, I think I missed one or two steps.
See, I can go point by point. So point here, and then well, I can see that my line is missing. My fold is missing here, so I can just... And then, well, I'm going to see that it's here, so I can just turn it over. And then sort of flip it. Once this one's done, then I can just sort of bring this down.
you have that like corner to the inner square thing going on too.
With this one?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because actually it's related to the same line that, oh yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, you can see even how it's root 2, 1, root 2. So this is a root 2 by root 2 square. So this is a 2 square. So yeah, and here we see how if this is a 1 square, then this is actually a 2 square. That's interesting, because that means that then this edge is the same as this edge.
But inner square, it looks bigger than that.
Then this?
Than this, yeah.
It'd be interesting to actually see if it is or isn't. No, yeah, it does look way bigger. How could we? How could we? Let's see now.
They're the same. I just measured.
Oh.
Yep, just showed it. Yeah, here it
because,
is.
okay, because it's slanting, so that is right. Diagonal line, so it looks shorter, but
It's an optical illusion.
Yep.
So theoretically and practically correct. So here we have bop, bop, done, done, done. Done, done, done. Okay, so I'm done. I have all my eightfold divisions done. Center eightfold, corners eightfold done. Okay, perfect. Now, the next one, the other radial division is just, we can put in the flex points. We can put in the division that happens here and here. There's going to be an eightfold division right there. So that means that so we can just put one in as a reference. Let's see. Let's make everything cohesive. So if I have this as a valley, and this is a mountain, that means that the one between should also be a valley in order to maintain congruency. So I have to do the same state as this line. This line that goes horizontally, I have to make it, if that's a valley, then this fold that I'm going to do is also going to be a valley. So corner to my center, because that's where this line matches. And now I'm going to bisect these. So here I do a bisection. So it's pretty much just taking this new mountain that I got and putting it on this center line.
You turn this over.
Everybody got that? So now the reason why we only have to do one is because then we can use this point as a reference. We can take this corner and put it over there. Now, although this line might seem useful, it's not really part of the pattern in any way that I can tell. But doing it this way also brings out these references for this one. So you can see here, the vertex of our square falls on this eightfold division at the same time that it falls on this line, on this intersection. So I'm just going to mark those so you can see better. Let's see if we can find them. Right? Here and here. So if we go around, we'll see that, well, this one has to be here and here, here, and here. See, it's inside of the cone. So now it was those points that one of the corners is going to fall on it. So we can take a corner. Well, this one I already have, apparently. Let's go for the other one. So let's say that here for this one. Let's take this one. This one falls on there, this one falls here, and we have a third one up in here.
I didn't get this
Hmm?
because I couldn't see that actually. I missed.
Do you see where I put the points?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so now the idea is to take your corners and put them on the points. But you gotta make sure that it comes from this origin. So see, for instance, this one is falling on the second point after. So if I'm starting from here, I'm looking at it, and it was 1, 2. So this one's gonna fall up in here, which means that for this one, it's gonna go 1, 2. So this one is gonna come here. You're gonna see how this line touches this line touches this point, and then up in here, this one is also a point. So I'm looking at this one now, and so therefore I can go 1, 2. If this is with my left hand, then with my right hand is when I'm going to take this point and put it up in here. Does this stain on my nail means that I need more calcium? Should I drink milk? I'll think about it. And as we do the more folds, there are going to be more incidences. For instance, this one is coming up. You can see that this line that cuts here is actually going to match to this one. So that tends to happen quite a bit with folding Islamic patterns, or folding in general, especially this sort of algorithmic kind of folding where we're sort of repeating a sequence of folds based on symmetry. As we reveal and complete the symmetry, we're going to see that itself has a relationship to itself. That's part of the harmony. I guess that could be like a chord within that musical analogy. I wish I knew more about music than I do. I like music very much, but I don't know how to play an instrument. It's one of those pet peeves, you know, people say that kind of thing. Oh, you know, I wish I knew Italian. I wish I could play an instrument. You know, one of those things. So pretty much what we've established now is that this line is going to come down here. And so we have, with this, sort of started to describe the octagons. Now let's look back at our goal. Let's see what we're up against. So far we have this line. You can see how It's coming in. And there should be a point where you can see how it's sort of starting to form the outer edges of the octagon. So now what we need to find is where this incidence happens. We can see how, if we have this line that comes down here, we can use the radial line that we started with, this one, in order to bounce this back forth in order to complete it. By using these two, 1, 2. So here, it was 1, so that means, well, it's very interesting because that means that this point is actually the center of the octagon right here. You can see that it's starting to describe it there a little bit. We can use this line to bounce it off. So see, this is gonna be our light line. And keep an eye out. This line that goes the eightfold, I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna turn the paper over because it's gonna be a valley on this side. I'm gonna turn it over. Just gonna do a little quick. Okay. So light line is gonna be the new line that we put in. And there I can see it. And this is the mirror line. Now turn it over. Let's see how it goes extended.
Could you please show this again? This last step. I
So
think
the
now volume is
objective,
down.
yeah. So the objective is to use this radial division to relate to this new line that we just came up with here. So we have this line that we just did, right? And then we have the eightfold up in here on this corner.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that it's going to relate to this intersection where it comes down here, hits on this radial line. Yeah?
Let me mark it. This one. Which one? This is the point.
Well, this is the point where it's going to flex,
Yes.
where the light is going to bounce off. Which, for instance, in this one that I don't have, it's going to be here. Because this is where my radial line for this side matches with the fold I'm drawing in. Yeah?
Okay. Just show me, I will do it.
Okay, so let's see, I'm going to do it on this side now. So I have that point of incidence, radial, pattern line. So first I do the pattern line, and then just keep an eye out for so see, I'm activating this radial line at the same time that I'm folding down this pattern line, the light line and the mirror line. And then as I fold it back, I just have to match these two. And you can see how this is extended. This line is already there. And so I do that, and then I can unfold and extend that line to see where this one is matching. So I know that this line has to continue on itself. This line has to fall on itself. And see, I'm seeing some nice relationships. For instance, this point is hitting on there. I think this is the big one. Can you see that?
Yep.
So
Do
if
we need
it's,
to mark it?
well, it's a landing site, definitely a landing site. So see, for instance, and this one also.
Which one?
So here and here, I'm gonna erase the landing sites we had before in order to avoid confusion. These landing sites we've used.
Is it?
It's a problem with the erasers. It'll mess your paper up. Feel like a child. Anyway, now we have these 4 points. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see how it's also coming in on the same pattern line that we did before. The intersection with the radial line at this point. So very harmonic, very harmonic. Nice.
Kind of a joke, but it's a good album.
Sarah coming in with the tunes today. The DJ Sarah.
You were just talking about an eraser, so that's why that album.
Oh, I think I know which one it is. Yep, I know which one it is. It's a great album. I think it's his first one, no? His first solo album. So now, that was one. So now this one's going to be the other for this one, right? Boom, boom. So when I do this, I just want to make sure that several lines are falling on themselves. For instance, this one falling on itself. This one falling on itself. There should be 3 of them. This one also falling on itself. And you can also see how this other point is somehow part of it, you know? You can see these 2 points are matching. So it's very, very harmonic. I mean, we could try this for all of them. You know, try to do it all at the same time. You can see that this overlap also is going to happen there.
So
Yeah, it's better to fold each of them first and then do that.
So should we unfold or overlap? What do we need to do? Because unfold is better because
Oh yeah,
without
definitely, because you can see better, no? You can see what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm also going for the unfold. I guess I just did the other one just to sort of show how there are more relationships than we can have time to sort of go into. You can also see that each landing site is a landing site for 2 points. So for instance, here I have, well, this is 1. And that's 2, right? So each point has 2 folds that land on it. 1, 2. So you got to find so you can follow the line. See, I'm following these lines and noticing where they match with the radon. So for instance, there I'm missing mine. So boop, this one. I think that's one of the more satisfying abilities that I've gathered from doing all these patterns is sort of the checking, just to really quickly discern and follow lines, sort of like go up, okay, there, got it, hits, I don't got it, see, it don't continue. So also like these two lines are very close together, but the more you do it, like the easier it becomes to discern which is which. And I think that that ability may have some other consequence in other, you know, in other ways that might not be obvious to me. I hope. Maybe I'm better at dodging red lights or something. Driving faster and reacting quicker.
Are you just putting in lines you were missing before?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much just on these 4 landing sites. Because there's two sites to land, right? And so now let's see what we got. You start to see the octagon sort of appear. So we're just missing these 2. Well, we have this one. We're just missing the other one. So what we can do is we can establish now a new line. So a line that just goes right between these. So on this point, which was the landing site, no, it's on top of the landing site. Right here. I'm gonna erase these 4 landing sites as we're done with them. So now this new folder we did has new landing sites. Now we're landing on this points. Actually 2 of them per fold. So that will be 1. Here will be the other 2.
See this middle of the square. Okay.
No, it's falling on.
No.
Well, it is dividing this
Something
intersection
is
in half.
wrong with mine, I think. See, at this point, I have only 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions. Like, let me show you. It's not complete. I guess I missed.
Oh, the radial lines?
Yes,
Mm.
I have only these.
Ah, let me see. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I didn't get to see.
What?
I didn't get to see, but did you get it? So far, for instance, it's, because see, if it's gonna maybe help if you start drawing in the octagon.
I'm not getting this octagon also. Some lines are missing, I guess.
Well, no, because we just did these ones. These are the ones we just did. The landing sites we just did are these. And this line that we came in here, this pattern line, as you can see, is also part of the octagon. So you should have the upper cap of the octagon. Well, also the lower cap, but yeah.
I think this vertical line is missing too. This is half of this square. I mean this.
This right where I am, this is the midpoint of the edge. So again, so we had an eightfold division happen here, right?
This point.
This one, right? This one. At this middle line, there's a line going right through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there.
And then we have an eightfold division here, which is where this line comes in, hits,
yes.
yeah? So
Yes,
let's count it. So we go first division, second division. So at that second division, notice.
Hmm.
That's where it intersects.
Yes.
See, follow this one.
Yeah. I have this part. Yes. Next. Understood.
Okay. So now the next thing that I did was sort of notice, okay, so I say, okay, we got the upper cap of the octagon. Nice. All right, cool. So now next step would be to sort of get the octagon on the other half, right? So we have the upper cap, now we want the lower cap. So in order to just properly divide the thing, I'm putting a line at the center of that octagon. See how I had the center of the octagon right there?
Mm-hmm.
Or that should be the center of an octagon right there, right? So now I'm just putting in the line that divides that octagon in half.
Okay.
I'm doing that in order so I can copy this fold onto the other half. But it's also going to become evident that I'm just going to need a line that sort of matches these two together.
Okay.
But it's going to be easier to see once I have this division line, this 1/2. And you can see that what I'm doing for this 1/2 is the intersection of the radials. The first 8-3 we did. So for instance, on the next one would be either here, that's the other intersection right here. You can see that there's also an octagon happening there, right? Octagon happening here as well.
So
here.
octagons.
So for instance, now it's going to be on this point, where if I fold that center division like so, I have these landing sites. But what I really want is where this line is divided, see?
Yeah.
So I have 1, 2. Again, so notice how even this is part of the radial divisions. It's another very symmetric relationship that the star has to itself. So now next point of intersection will be there, right here. You can see that the landing site applies. You can also see how these are touching, sort of. This one not so much, might be a mistake on my part, but what I care most about is that these points get divided in half, these ones. So I'm just going to draw in the lines of the octagon that I do have so far, just as a reference, really. Just so I don't get too lost, right? Now, where am I stopping? Well, I'm stopping at the radial line because there's a line that actually is drawing the octagon slices, see? So keep an eye out for these octagonal slices.
Some of my lines are missing.
Some of your lines are missing
Yes,
on
I'll
these.
show you. I'll
Yeah.
show you. I'll show you. Just a sec. Just a second. See, I have this, but I don't have this on the other side.
Wait, can you move it around a little bit, like twist it, just so I can maybe see another angle? Because maybe the
See, I have this one,
yeah.
but I don't have this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is not the one. This is the one, the upper one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
No, it's actually the one underneath. The one that you have drawn in, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that just means that you're missing some landing sites. So for instance, that was the one that we landed on these. I'm gonna draw them with an X. Yeah.
Yes, I did that on all four sides.
Well, if you're missing that one, then that means that you must have missed one, because if you had done it for all of them, then so you see, remember that each landing site has 2 points that are going to fall on it. So for instance, this is 1 for me. That's my landing site. So that's 1, and then see, then the other one comes in 2. So if there's 4 points and 2 landing sites, two landings on each, that means it's going to go to 8, right? So that's 2. So make sure, so find your point again, and then try to look for that, right? So it goes 1, 2. So now here, 1, 2. So one of these points of yours is missing 1, because if you don't have the upper cap of the octagon, that's just pretty much what it means, that there's 1 that is missing it. Because these are the ones that are describing these top.
Yes, one of these are missing.
Yeah.
So what should I do? I'm not getting this. This is fine.
Now the reason why I'm drawing these in is because I just want to keep those in mind. I want to keep, because these are going to be done. So once I have these octagons, then everything else is going to sort of build around them, or not everything, but a big part of it is going to build around it. And also it's going to become clear that what I'm missing is this line that goes right here between them. And you can even see now that, well, if I just draw them in, you're going to see the shape, right? So this is partially the thing we're looking for. We're just missing the top spike on it. Now, although we do need this line that draws in these shapes, I haven't found anything other than this line where it's useful. Like this line, if we draw it in, it won't actually tell us much. I mean, it will because it also go to the next one, but it might confuse us. So I'm just gonna put it in because, you know, we got it right. The whole thing's got to be there. So what I'm going to do for this one is just make sure that when I fold it, it's going through the correct points. So here I have another intersection. I have a possible landing site. Right there. So just making sure that it's going through the proper intersections. So you can mark your intersections with points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can do a line that goes through it. So for instance, this would be here, 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 and here for me, for this one. And this line has to fall on itself. Center line falls on itself. That's in order to guarantee that perpendicularity that we need. Perpendicularity. And this landing site over here is real. It's over here. Actually, I regret not saying that this line is actually not going to be useful because it will inform the possibility of another pattern that could be there. So yeah, no, take that back. But this is the trickier one though.
Please tell this fold again. This
Yeah, so the
one.
landing site seems to be up in here. But the idea, well, the other way that I did it was as I drew in the octagons, there's this line that I'm missing. I'm just going to draw in these final portions of the octagon. See those? So I can put in points on the intersections. So now I can make a fold that actually goes through this line because that's going to be a straight line that goes right across both of them. So as I fold it, I just make sure that my fold goes through all 4 points, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at the same time that this line has to match up and top. And as you fold it, you're going to see that over here, these are going to cut these 2 points. So this might be the crux, the crux, yeah, the crux. So this might be the harder part of the thing because it's so slim, right? But again, this is the point where I'm lying. This is not the crux. But I need to tell you that. As you do these, you're going to see that they intersect also. That should be a key takeaway. I think it's a very beautiful alignment, this one. This is where the room becomes full of possibilities. Well, my camera somehow died. I think it's because I was in the air going back and forth. There we go. Camera was like, no, no more. Can't take it. In the camera's defense, I stopped looking at it. I started looking more at the paper. This is what happens. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to have these landing sites marked. Okay, so that should describe the octagon. Give us this nice little eightfold star there in the center. And so the reason why I keep saying that this could be like the key to another pattern is actually related to this step. Because if we sort of changed up our tune, and instead of having the octagons be the main character, if we change that into octagons being the main character, that is octograms, 2 octograms, octograms that land here, for instance. Ba, ba, ba. We have actually now the start of this, like, we could actually do a little house here, see? You can even see a little bit there. But we won't, so ignore that. But it could be a future pattern, it could be an idea for another sequence. But the one we're doing right now does not involve it. But again, it's an interesting development. But it's a nice sort of change of pace of subverting of expectations, right? Okay. How are we doing? You guys doing all right?
Yeah, I'm lagging behind. I have some used.
But you have you got the idea though? I mean the
I
octagon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Perfect.
think we'll do it with your video.
Nice. I'm just gonna erase these reference lines that we did, the reference points. Okay, so pay attention to your octagon. Notice how there's the cut that goes right through like this tangent cut. And they'll hit here. The other one will hit here. So I'm just gonna draw in this. This is gonna be partial right now. This is for right now. So this is a bisection and hits there. There's a bisection and hits here. A bisection and hits. A bisection and hits. Yeah? So now the idea is to do another bisection. So we're going to bisect this line that's touching that point and the line that goes to the center. So we're going to do a bisection here, and a bisection here. So I'm going to do the double mountain trick on that point. You can do the triple mountain trick, actually. I'm going to take all three at the same time. Yeah, you say something, Sashi?
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. Now, this fold, don't do completely because this will not like match with anything else. This is just a local reference. So when you do it, one and two. And
Do
so
we
when
need
you
it
do it,
past the radial line?
what do you mean?
Or like the next radial line? Like how far do we want to extend those?
Well, see, what we're looking for, let me show you, is really just the intersection of this line with this line.
That's all we need.
That's all we need.
Are you sure?
Yep. Well, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So for right now, I'm just keeping it very
What
local.
till what point do we need to make a crease?
So we're
Just
doing
that
this
point?
this bisection right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have this line underneath that completes this sort of pillar shape, right? So where this bisection connects with this pillar shape, that's the point we're looking for. It's just really just this point. That's what we really care about.
Okay.
So that's why I say don't extend it too fully, too completely. Just really just focus in on a local reference, just a very local. So that's why I just put these together like so, a triple mountain there, and just really just squeeze around there. Just really just keep it very local. Now we do it for all of them. Before we continue, it's better to have all of them ready.
Let me double check to make sure I'm doing the right bisection.
So yeah, notice how it's the tangent on the octagon.
Okay. I think I've got the right one.
I'm just erasing right now the line that's not part of the pattern so far. So I'm just drawing in the line until I hit the intersection.
this step feels like a little too like ruler and compassy. Like I feel like there
Yes.
should be a more origami way.
There might be. But the way I was looking at it yesterday was just, I couldn't find another one. I looked and looked and looked, and this is the best I could do, because if we really depend on this line and the one that's going to come after to be the same. So it is very ruler and compassy, because the next one is actually going to be, at that point, it's going to come down like so. This one's going to come down like so. And so what this achieves is that these two lines are the same, because they are being bisected and touched upon. So the way that I sort of solved for it in the origami way was almost to just use this radial division in order to pop it. See that? I mean, that sort of works, you know? In the origami fashion. At least it also describes like the way that's going to look 3D if we, you know, go that route. Start to squeeze it. This is also why I was going to show this new technique with the tracing paper, because it's going to be like, all right, yeah, you know, like let's put origami for a side for a little bit. That's what I was going to say, not anymore. But it was going to be like, yeah, let's draw a circle at this intersection, and that'll be it. But you know, we're doing great. We're doing fine. We can do the triple mountain trick. So that's also a nice sort of take on another lesson that we've done before. We've done the double mountain trick. Now we're doing it on its head. At the next level, the triple mountain trick. So everything in its right place.
We have done all those bisectors, and now after that,
So after that, you're gonna mark the point. So you know, the same thing we did with the octagon, pretty much. Because now you're gonna find where this bisector, where's my pencil in my ear, of course.
I mean, have you moved forward or you are doing that only?
Yeah, no, I'm just doing that just over and over because I got a little bit distracted there with this example. So, okay, so as you keep drawing this octagon line, you're gonna stop where it hits this bisector you made. So that's a point. That's a point. So point, 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 point. So mark all those points. Now the idea is gonna be to connect them points. So for instance, I have this one underneath here. So see, this point is going to match with this point.
I don't have them all yet.
Sashi coming in for the win.
No, I thought I'm lagging behind and you have moved forward. So that's why I asked you.
Oh, I see. No, if you got all these bisectors in, then you got it. You're ahead.
My octagons are not complete yet.
Ah, haha. Yeah, but I think it's fine if you didn't complete your octagons because it really is only this line we're looking for, which is pretty easily drawn,
Mm-hmm.
But right now what we care about is this point of the bisector there and over here. And it's going to then come down to connect this one to this one.
Let me finish with that.
That's pretty much it. 1 and then 2 over here. So it's going to have to be perpendicular to the line that goes between them. So I can then fold like this and then also go about like so, if I so chose. It's funny because I was tempted yesterday as I was doing this. I thought that it was this corner falling in on this intersection up in here. You see that? But I just wasn't convinced. It looked right, but now that I'm doing it, actually looks no, it's
past
not.
it, right?
It's past it. Yeah, it's just not on it. It's just simply not on it. So. We can't change reality. It is what it is. It's not landing on there, so it's not there. It's the way it is. What other tunes you got, Sarah? I'm done with. I just finished with the Tom York album.
Give me a second.
Yeah, no hurry. The silence is deafening. Also, you're going to see that this line is not, I repeat, not touching the vertex of the octagon. So yeah, make sure that it's not on it. Do not be fooled. Let's see, I'm missing, 2 more bisectors. By the way, Sashi, I love the aesthetic of the pose you did with Monday's pattern. Looks so cool. And I love that you also got the squishy. You got like
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really yeah.
I love corrugations and tessellations, so that part makes me happy.
Yeah, me too.
That collapsing.
I was actually looking at more patterns this week or during the week, and I found several that are inside of the same base, like same maybe different selection of like different number of rums, but same rum, same pattern of rum, so same base. So now I'm curious if we can actually use that sort of technique in order to get even another pattern, like same base, just try to look for another relationship. Yeah, so I think that's it's going to be fun.
See, I don't have these channels. I mean, what do you call these channels? See, now
These ones?
I've got my octagons. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh yeah, well these is like slim channels. You're talking about these small
Yes.
ones?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing about those is that we don't really need them. Like for this pattern we're doing, we don't really need them at all. The only thing that we use them for is to complete the octagon. But
Okay.
see, I think that this is sort of not a waste, but because we're only using, so the rule we're going for is every line we draw has to be folded in. Pretty much like that's the rule that I'm making up right now. I don't ever say that. But
Okay.
the thing is, it's a very easy line to draw. So it's only 2 points. So just,
Yeah,
so
I
this,
did it like that. Yeah.
but the thing is,
Hmm.
if we actually include these channels in, we might get to see some other pattern come forth. Because if we complete these channels, what we get is that we have sort of like these octagon. Let me draw it on AutoCAD real quick while you guys finish the bisectors. I'll show you on the AutoCAD. See, because it's very interesting the way it sort of works. Let's see here. My computer's about to do a number on it. Let's see. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to show you real quick how this would look if we did the other one. We'll do a polygon here, 8-sided, circumscribed. Up, up, up. I'm going to do the 8-2 on the apothem, just for kicks. Take this away. Oh. All right. So this is the pattern that we could be getting, or sort of like the base that we could be getting. Wait a minute. So these are the channels that we have drawn in right now. Well, something's off. I may have put something a little bit off because this is not, look at that weird looking shape. So yeah, something's off. I did something wrong, but it's me. It's not the pattern. Like, yeah, oh, this is so clear. This is so clear. Look at that. Look at this. Ew. But you sort of get to see the idea, no? I mean, again, like the maneuver I'm doing with my hands says keep being on the microphone speaking range, and with my keyboard all the way to the right over here. So this is a very uncomfortable position, but just to show you the idea of it, right? So this is a potential pattern that we could build on, in where we could either complete one of these stars, one of these crosses, maybe 2 of them. You know, we could find something in here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe we could even like do a little square here. You know, do a little 45. Like another one of these. Again, just an idea of like a star here being completed. You could actually have an A3, maybe get 4 of these. And so, yeah, just an idea, just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
But as it stands, we are not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing the A2, we're simply putting in the octagon. But as you can see, that incidence points, if we stretch these, they actually do touch there. So it is that same sort of sequence. So, you know, it's not completely useless, but for our pattern right now, it's not necessary. But it might be, you know, they're so slim and so long that it might be a little difficult to get them just right. But I think that as long as you can match all 4 points on a line, on a fold, I think you should be okay. And as you do that, you're going to see that there are going to be intersections happening. So that's also a sign that you're doing all right. If, as you fold and put your lines together, you get intersections, that means that you did okay. So I think this is my last bisector here, my last triple mountain. Now, today I'm drawing in the what do you say? Yeah, the pattern on my mountainside. That's because I'm doing all these sketches and drafting. So when I turn it over, I'm going to use my valleys in order to draw the final pattern in. I'm going to use the folds of my ruler. Okay, so now I'm going to draw in these new points. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So now it's really just a matter of connecting these lines, right? Again, same sort of deal that it goes wall, ba, wall, ba. And it's going to be only located within this. So again, these lines, when they go outwards, they won't really connect to anything on the outer skirts of this. It's only within. Again, make sure that the center line falls on itself. So you can see that this line falls on itself. Point and point.
So we need to do this on the outside too in order to get the 8 half rosettes, right?
Yes, but you're going to be guided by this sort of half mountain over here.
Yeah.
And further, there's going to be one other clue to the outskirts, and that is the stars. Let me show you. Those canonical stars, actually. So we have this. So the one you're going to draw on the outskirts, for instance, is this one. So if you do the triple mountain trick on here, you get this description. You get this channel starting to describe itself. Mm-hmm. But what we don't have it actually, but you need to also include at this midpoint, this eightfold division. And that's this point. And we already have that actually. Yeah, we already have this. This point actually extends all the way to here. This is the same line. That's pretty neat. So now what you really just need to do now is just find this line, which could be completed just by channels, just by inference. So if you if you do the triple mountain trick here, repeat the same sort of point, that will inform you on where this might be for the next one. But yeah, pretty much that idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, you're just going to finish it off with the octagon. But it should be on where these lines will meet. So again, look for this. So it comes here, and this is like the line. So, you know. So you can actually get this one right now because you already have this line. You just need to complement it with its eightfoldness. Bop. Just complete that. Bop, bop. So this octagon you could even get right now with what you got. Now, there's this thought experiment that I keep coming back to in my mind, right? It's the idea of combining compass and straight edge with origami. And that might be to broaden the appeal of it, of the Islamic origami idea, but also to take advantage of how easy it is to do radial lines with folding. It's very, very easy to do all the radial line divisions with folding and be pretty excited about it. I think it might be a little more challenging to do the folding pattern in and of itself. Sometimes. I think that right now we're doing pretty good because we're using all these points and we're actually drawing in a lot of the lines. So, you know, it's going good. It's going good. And what I've also found is that there are many ways to do a pattern. So, you know, that's the character of it. So there's no just one way. There's not just, this is the way we fold Islamic patterns. No, like we have patterns and then we can crack them through origami. And just as well, we could also design with origami. We haven't done that much, but it is something that we have to eventually tackle, or at least talk about. The idea of finding new Islamic patterns through paper folding. But first, before we do that, we have to sort of look at what's already been done in order to inform our imagination on what we can do and the sort of approaches, the different approaches that are available to us. But the other reason why I want to sort of eventually incorporate both techniques of the compass with the folding is because folding honestly can be pretty messy, especially when I'm drawing with pencil on it and folding then, because inevitably, at least with the way I do it, it's going to smudge it. But that's also why I'm doing like one side is going to be my drafting side and the other side is going to be my final pattern side. So I'm just doing all the pencil on the same side. And so that on this side, I can just do with the pen, make it look nice, presentable, whatnot. But there is great potential to be discovered yet. So yeah, there are some patterns that are more origami-like and some patterns that are more compass and straight edge-like. And there might be a third way. Surely there's always more ways. It might be a little close-minded of me to say, you know, all the ways that we've done, that's all the ways there are. There's always some other new approach, some other interpretation. So it's good to keep an eye out for things that might be worth looking into. And that's, I think, where the imagination comes in. The more we do things, the better we get, and the more confidence we find in ourselves in order to try new things, or also to look at things that are in the world, other people's work, art that is around on the internet, around our lives, etc. And we might think, well, that looks interesting. I recognize that idea. I wonder if I can do it. And, you know, more often than not, you can. Well, especially folding being such a powerful tool and such a readily available mechanism. So, you know, if you have an idea that you want to draft, you can, you know, maybe take out a notebook, write down the idea, or take out a piece of paper even. Just get a table and, you know, start drafting. And, you know, you might not get the final pattern in that go, but at least you might sort of work on a section of the idea, and then you take it on to the next level, etc., etc. So here I've pretty much just finished the rosette on the inside. Now I'm missing the rosette on the outside, but I think that one is going to come a little bit more easy now that I have this one. And well, here maybe the octagon does come into play nicely, in that the other channel is also going to come in through it. That is to say, we have this channel is coming in, but then the other one is going to come out. It's going to be this way. So, you know, we're not going to think about it like that. It might not be worth it. But that's what I would do when I saw a pattern that I liked. I would just sort of work on a local part of the pattern that I liked, and then maybe try to put that little piece of it into a whole. Maybe go about cracking which angle the rectangle is in, whatnot. But it's also good to try and go for those partial solutions, I think. So now triple mountain on the outside.
So what I'm noticing is that, like, you only have one side. This only gives you one side of each of those channels that you need. So what I'm thinking, I guess, is like you have to match them up across 3 to get the line.
Do you mean like all the way across from here?
Yeah, to get the channel in place, and then I guess you can just mirror it over the center line to get the other half.
That's a good idea. Yeah, definitely. We could like get this one in and then use this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Got a channel. Use this as a bisection. Like 1, 2. Very basic mirror too. Good eye, Sarah, good eye. And see, actually with 1 point, you might be able to get this channel because it's a perpendicular line. to the edge. So if you have this point, let's get that point in and make sure that it's a perpendicular. And again, very tempting. A lot of lines are going to be like almost matching, but none of them will. None of them do.
I don't know if the other album ran out for you, but I just put another one.
Hmm?
I don't know if the Sassy 009 album ran out for you, but I just put up another one.
Actually, I didn't click play. I
Oh,
clicked
you
the
didn't
link,
even play it?
I mean, I clicked the link and then I got distracted because it didn't go to play, automatically play, but now I'm playing it.
Oh, now you just got to skip right to the last one.
To the last song?
The last thing that I posted.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll click on the Sassy one later. Kill Sassy. Oh, nice. Weird name. Oh, I love Sufjan Stevens. Nice. Nice, very nice. Now this one right here for the other one, for the other channel, is going to complete this lizard. I'm going to call it now head, two arms, 2 feet, a tail.
Much better than roadkill.
Yeah. And now I'm going to sort of be arranged by just the fact that this line is going to have to fall on itself. This line will fall on itself, so will this one, so will this one. And it's going to come at that point.
Okay, question. So there's like a square line that's there, but I find that mine doesn't touch it.
Mine neither.
That bothers me.
Welcome to this pattern. It's a subversion of expectations. But see, that's why this was going to be like, yeah, we're going to combine techniques in order for this to not be so frustrating. You see, there's a purpose. There's a method to my madness. Now we're doing fine. So see, now for this one, I'm going to use this line as a mirror. Just bounce that back. And mirrors are more pleasant because mirrors will usually, at least the channeling mirrors, will usually lead to a lot of nice things. But I find that no matter which channel you impose on it, the relationships will be there, but it's also a nice way to sort of guarantee that sort of relationship. So you see, when I do the mirror on the channel, using the radial lines that we did before, this corner will actually match. Now we're sort of getting into the inaccurate territory because we're actually sort of relying on mirrors, which is not wrong, but you know, as we've said before, it is just really more of a reference tool than an exact. And here, well, we do have something very, very interesting, which is going to help us quite a bit. And that is the way that the rest of it is going to happen. So if you notice, the stars is going to be hitting at the edge of the square. So what that means, for instance, for this one, let's see. I have this line that's going to come right here, and it's going to end up describing an important part of the pattern. That is to say, a part of the star. This is going to be hitting there, right? So because of the nature of stars, that line, that point where it hits, that's going to be part of the star. So just as much, see, I don't know if that made sense right then, but let me see. All right, see, I have this one solved already. So I have a channel right here, these two lines. And I have this one that came in. And so when I start to complete it, and it's going to be based on the radial line, right? Because it's going to come in and go up like so. So these lines are touching right here. Coming in, hits. I can also use a mirror on one of the radial eights to make the Slim Jim over here. But see, if I put one in, the one that's going to come next to it is going to do this. At least it should. So for instance, here, now that I've got one of these, I can use the mirror line on the diagonal. In order to avoid the triple mountain. And the diagonal tends to be a pretty safe bet, in that you can see pretty clearly all that it is and get a very trustworthy incidence. Yeah, very weird. So now again, I keep an eye out for, we'll see for the corner though, if I raise it up like this, and I mean to say that since these two sides are going to be, there's going to be another octagon there on the top. If I bring down on this middle line that I have here, which is part of the eightfold line that we did at the beginning, I can see where the octagon is, right? So I can use that as a reference too. So now really it's just a matter of you choosing, right? You can get to choose which technique or relationship you want to take advantage of. Rather, it could be the mirror, it could be certain points that you can see that match. Always make sure though that your lines are perpendicular. So matching, matching, matching. All these lines need to be perpendicular. You can also notice there's going to be a little square inside of each octagon. And by nature, this little square is going to match to the one opposite it, not to the one adjacent it. This one will not have that little square. It will have it, but differently. It'll have its own. So you can try to either go for completing these squares, or go for any other relationship that you might find pertaining. So for instance, I like this one. I like to use this and then use this one. So I'm going for the completion of the squares inside the octagons. That's what I decided to go with. So I'm just looking at these intersections inside and just completing those. I wonder how long I've been out of focus. Yeah, I'm more looking at the paper now because it really is just a matter of just keeping the pattern going, really. Once you got that idea. Now, admittedly, a lot of the lines are sort of superfluous and they are really just sort of bound by their local phenomena. But some do stretch out, and so for those, I like to keep out an eye on intersections. Just making sure that they touch the right ones. So as I stand, I have a quarter of the pattern done pretty much. You know, it's easy to underestimate this pattern. The first time I looked at it, I was like, yeah, an eightfold. Done those before. But then I started doing this. And there's all these different techniques and ideas that I had to apply to it in order for it to make sense. So it was a nice surprise. It's a great album, by the way. It's really like, it's gotten me not to talk. It's gotten me like, oh man, a little trance. Kind of perfect for what we're doing, really.
Songs from this album kept showing up on like auto-generated playlists, and I would always be like, "Whoa, what song is that? I like that," and it was like always from this album.
Because he's kind of like more like rock, pop kind of thing, not Sufjan Stevens. Well, not even, but he's got that album, like the Chicago album. You know, he's got plenty of stuff more commercial, I guess. Illinois is the name of the album. Yes. Not Chicago. How you guys doing? Any doubts? All good?
I'm almost done, I think. Got it.
Nice. Let's see it. Oh, nice. That looks so tidy.
When I was putting in so I did the corners last. I didn't do like a quarter and then finish. I just sort of worked my way out. But I could tell, like, by the time I got to the corners, there were some things that were kind of, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Way to go. Sarah coming in for the kill.
See, I will do this from the video.
Excuse me?
My volume is down. I'll
You say
do
that again,
this from
Sash?
the video.
Huh?
I'll do this from the video. Because,
From the beginning?
no, not from the beginning. I finished this part. Maybe you can see it now.
Oh, you're finished?
No. I finished this much only.
Let's see. Okay, all right.
The inner thing.
Oh, the inner thing.
Yes.
Nice. I'm seeing that some of your peaks are a little too shy, saw that some of them were maybe a little bit slim Jim there. So maybe
Which piece?
I saw that some were a little bit too, like your petals were a little bit too wide at one point. I saw, like there was one petal that I saw that was a bit too wide.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it's the points at the mountain here. Maybe it was that, or I mean, but as long as you understand the idea, then the execution comes second. The first thing and the most important thing is the idea.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See, earlier you were doing a lot of tessellations and correlations. See, I saw pictures.
In my past
stories.
posts. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love tessellations and corrugations. Like I love to work with those kinds of shapes. I think like maybe you understand. Like I think that they're a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah. So are you planning to do that again? Like.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're gonna do more of those. You see, the idea for this one though was trying to do sort of like a base for a pattern that would be done through other mediums, like through tracing paper or something like this, but maybe the time will not allow for it. But so see here, for instance, if we, instead of drawing the pattern in with the folds, simply got to where we have all of the radial lines drawn in, and we have the idea, and we have maybe some basic folds in, we could draw those in and then put a tracing paper over it. And then with that tracing paper over it, we could then sort of use a compass or use maybe a straight edge and then sort of complete it around those relationships, those connections. But that's what I'm thinking, because, well, right now we went through the traditional route we usually go. But yeah, maybe we'll see it in another class, this idea that I've been meaning to sort of expand upon. I mean, there are many tricks that one could start to apply, but the idea is that it feeds your imagination. That's, I think, the most important thing, that you can sort of feel it changing the way you thought about a certain pattern, or maybe sort of informing a new way of thinking.
So,
that makes sense.
I think I'll leave now because I'm really sleepy now.
Okay, Sashi, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you Monday then.
Yeah.
Take
bye.
care now. Bye. So it's just us now. The people in the recording and I. So it is, so it shall be. Well, right now we're finishing up the pattern. And what else, man? Well, I don't know. I saw a horror movie, something I hadn't done in a while. The movie's called Hereditary. I don't know. It's kind of it's good. You know, it's a horror movie. And you know, I usually talk over horror movies. I talk over movies quite a bit. I don't know. I'm not the best movie person to watch movies with, but I mean, I like to analyze, right? So I'll be watching a movie, I'd be like, oh, that effects is really cool. Like thinking like, oh, I wonder how they did that. It looks awesome. Things like that. That's the kind of comments that I do. Like I try not to make fun of the movie just on its face. Not that I try, I just don't do it like that. I'm more like fascinated by the process of filmmaking or the idea of all this collective effort, right? Yeah, but Sarah and Sashi rocked it out today. They got the pattern before I did. And, you know, I feel that maybe there are some mistakes in mine. You can see it right here on this one, for instance. But the idea is there. So I finally completed it. So now I have to do it with pen on the other side. So I'm just going to run you through real quick sort of what this is about, what the idea that I was meaning to do was about. So let's say that I have this. I can't wait. I can't believe I had to wait until the end to do it, but wait a minute. I just saw this message by Barun. Sorry, man. Yeah, the time. Yes, yeah, man. Wish you could have been here. So okay, I'll leave that for next class. I'll leave that for next class. But I will finish this up with a pen. And I'm not gonna do it sloppy. I'm gonna do it proper. I'm gonna do it nice. Gotta look good, right? Okay, so first off, I'm gonna find my incidence points. That is where my folds are gonna stop and change. So it's here, 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 here. So maybe I can see that on the other side of my paper. I do. How to approach this, right? Let's see now. Where are my octagons? So that's the center of an octagon. And they are, where's the cross? Hey, Sarah.
Hey, my internet went out.
Happens. Yeah, right now I'm just putting on the finishing touches with a pen.
Did Shachi get it?
No, not completely. She got it. She got it. She was also very tired. It is very late where she is at. I saw on the Discord that Barun asked for the time. And yeah, I forgot to share on the Discord. It's points against me. But yeah, we're still live. So I guess I'm going to save what I was trying to do for another class. The idea of the tracing paper and using the radial divisions, because I feel that that could be an in for people that are more familiar with compass and straight edge constructions. Maybe then it will be more obvious how much of a tool it can be.
I felt like the way we did this whole pattern was very ruler and compass already.
We'll see. Now it's just a matter of getting them into the game. And it was very compass and straight edge. But the trick is sort of not to get lost in all the lines.
I think those original skinny channels, like those could be used for a nice dual level pattern.
Oh yeah, true. Hadn't thought about it like that. See, a lot of the times I'm thinking that these designs have like these hidden gems meant for designers. So if a person were to do like the proper analysis, they will find usually something that's not on it, but it's within it. Some idea, right? I don't know. I started to think that when we did the one on the baby Taj, but not like the one not the 10-fold one we did, but the 8-fold one we did. Because it's inside of a double square, and then I did it on a silver rectangle, and it just matched so perfectly. It just made this whole another pattern. And I'm thinking like, well, maybe that was the intention. It's just like a little hidden thing for us. Maybe maybe the fact is that it's just such a nice pattern that it has these relationships with its base symmetry. I guess that's how I would say it.
colored a quarter of it.
Oh, nice. Look at me. You're already coloring. I'm still not even a quarter into it.
But I mean, you're redrawing it though.
I am redrawing it.
I didn't redraw it.
Yeah, smart, smart. It's nice though, no? It's pretty. It's pretty. Pretty. It might be that since you joined, the recording has been on you. And now my earphones ran out of battery. Went a little bit over there. Yeah, fun times, fun times. Yeah, I know this isn't very interesting right now, but it is the class. It is what's happening. But we are a bit out of over the time. Well, we're about 5 minutes in, so let's do the last 5 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this in 5 minutes, but I don't know. It's funny how things change. Everything changes. Everything happens, changes, falls, occurs, rebounds, is sort of, yeah, you think about things. I mean, how much are we responsible for each other? How much are we our brother's keeper? You know? Are we supposed to take each other into account before we think about ourselves, and how much so? If yes, how much so? I don't know. I saw this video yesterday. Kept me thinking. It's this video of these two guys who are like the nicest people in the world. And they go out to Venice Beach, or I don't know which beach in California. And they go out and they're trying to give free masks to people. They're just handing out masks. Anybody want a mask? You want a mask? You want a mask? Whatever. They got you. You know, they'll give you a free mask. They're just wanting to hand masks out to people so that lockdown can be over, right? And people are so mean to them. They are so mean to them. They're calling them whatevers. And they not only reject the mask, but they're mean about it too. And they have these little slogans. It's not a mask, it's a muscle. And I keep thinking of Poe's law. It's when you make fun of something and you're convinced that it's so outrageous what you're doing. And like it's so obviously satire, it's so obviously a joke that nobody's going to confuse it for like the real thing, the real opinion. That's what you think, right? But Poe's law says that on the internet, you know, satire and irony are not obvious. And that is to say that, you know, just because you think it's a joke doesn't mean that the people who believe things like that will perceive it as a joke. Rather, they'll see it as it's more fuel to the fire, almost. Think about these things. I don't think there's an easy way out of anything. Maybe there's not even a way in. You know, how much are we supposed to just wait around and let things happen to us? And how much are we supposed to make things happen? What's the line, you know? You guys know the story of the Velveteen Rabbit? It's this children's book, apparently. It's this children's book about a kid who has a rabbit made out of some velveteen, which is apparently like some cloth that looks like velvet, or something like that, right? And it's about being real. It's about love making us real, making things real. Even inanimate objects can become real if enough love is deposited onto them. And you know, you think about your childhood toys and that sort of like that kind of magic, right? You think about Toy Story in a way. That's what Toy Story is kind of about. In part, because Toy Story is also like about consumerism, right? It's about brand loyalty. Not only about love bringing things to life. Like, I don't know, like who's the bad guy in Toy Story, right? Sid, right? It's this kid who's kind of creative. His parents get him all he wants. Like his parents let him blow up rockets and stuff. And all the toys he gets, he like mashes them together and he's like mechanically inclined. But he's the bad guy because he plays with his toys. Like he's more of a free spirit kind of guy. But he's kind of, you know, macabre, you know, he's kind of like, he gets a little sadist kick out of destroying objects and, you know, at least he's not hurting animals. And yeah, Woody kind of once busts out of the picture and whatnot. I don't know, there's all these sort of American media references, part of the machine, right? I love Toy Story, man. When I was a kid, I used to watch that over and over again. You know what scene was like the one I watched the most in my unconscious? Maybe like that's sort of stored there still. But it's the scene where he wants to fly and can't. You know, where he falls, he's like, jumps from a ledge because he thinks that he can. And just as he's midair, he starts to fall. Reality begins to dawn on him, right? And yeah, he breaks his arm. And that's sort of a little bit of what seen in the Velveteen Rabbit, a little bit. So regarding COVID, it's a good idea to have a ventilated space. Because apparently it's transmissible through the air. Man, I'm so out of focus on here. My 5 minutes have passed. But yeah, consumerism, right? I don't know, depending on the day, I guess I had different talking points, right? But today, I feel pretty chill. I think that this is pretty much all I got to say right now, which is not much. So now I'm just completing my pattern because I gotta put on a picture, right, of the thing. Yeah, let's see. I think I can find the points. I think it's just really that it's going to be much easier if I just find the points I need to bounce off of. Because I want to see it on the screen. Yeah, excuses. I guess if you look at it from a certain angle, there's really no hurry to get anywhere. There's no hurry to die. There's no hurry to rush. Maybe there is. But if you think about it, there is such a thing as a withering opportunity, right? Such a thing as perhaps a chance gone by that might not return again. So I guess in that sense, you might just benefit from hurrying, I guess. Haste makes waste, though. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to end up happening to us, but I think it is beneficial to learn how to be alone with your own thoughts, with your own imagination. Learn to be your best friend, right? I guess trust yourself. It's a way to say it, but maybe trusting yourself is not doing anything that you can sort of think about. Like a thought pops into your brain and then you do it. Rather, you trust whatever's happening. You look more at the behavior. I was gonna be like, yeah, I'm finished, but no. Yeah, it's kind of a quiet day, I'd say. You know, I can't just chatty it up for 3 hours every day. I'm not that interesting a person. It's nice when you have somebody to bounce back from. But throwing a monologue every day, I don't know, not every day, but every now and again. It's fine, everything's okay. It's gonna keep finding some of these new patterns. That's gonna be just the way it's gonna go. But yeah, well, thank you all for joining. I really just wanted to do this, get to the end of the pen drawing. You can see all those lines. Oh, it's pretty crazy. It's a very beautiful pattern. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you all in the next time, and thank you again.